Sophie was bubbling with excitement as she clutched her tiny backpack with rainbow stickers. Today was the day of her very first airplane ride with her family. She had been counting down the days, and now it was finally here. The whole family, Mama, Daddy, and her little brother Sam were all going on an adventure in the sky. As they reached the airport, Sophie's eyes widened like saucers. There were so many people, bags, and huge windows showing enormous planes waiting outside. Mama, they look like giant birds, she exclaimed, pointing at a plane as they rode their suitcases. That's right, Sophie, and we're going to fly just like birds, said Daddy with a grin. First, they went to a big counter where they handed over their suitcases. Sophie got a special sticker on her shirt that said First Flight, and she proudly showed it off to Sam. Then came the part where they had to go through security. Sophie felt like a superhero as she walked through the scanner, holding her hands up like a star. Finally, they arrived at their gate, and Sophie saw a plane pull up outside. Is that the one we're flying on? She asked, her voice full of wonder. Yes, Sophie. Are you ready? Mama asked with a smile. I'm super ready, Sophie replied, feeling a mix of excitement and a few fluttering butterflies in her tummy. It was time to board. They walked down a long tunnel called a jet bridge, and as Sophie stepped inside the plane, she gasped. There were rows of comfy seats, tiny windows, and friendly flight attendants, who gave her a pair of colorful wings for being a first-time flyer. Sophie's family settled in, and she buckled up her seatbelt just like the captain on the speaker said. Click! Went the buckle, and Sophie felt like an explorer ready for takeoff. Suddenly, a loud roar began to fill the plane. The engines rumbled like a lion's growl, and the whole plane started to move. Sophie held Sam's hand tightly. It's just like a roller coaster, she giggled. The plane zoomed faster and faster down the runway, and whoosh, Sophie's belly felt like it did a little flip-flop as the plane lifted off the ground. Whoa! She shouted, pressing her nose against the window. Everything outside got smaller and smaller until the houses looked like tiny toys. Look, Mama! The clouds look like fluffy cotton candy. Sophie squealed, and Daddy chuckled. Do you think we can eat them? He teased, making Sophie and Sam giggle. High up in the air, the flight attendants brought snacks and drink. Sophie enjoyed a tiny box of juice with a straw and nibbled on her favorite crackers. Then, a special surprise, each seat had a little TV screen with cartoons. Sophie watched her favorite show about a superhero bunny while Mama read a book and Daddy played a game with Sam. Suddenly, there was a tiny bump. The whole plane wobbled a little. Wee! Sophie giggled, feeling a little tickle in her tummy. What was that? She asked. That's called turbulence, Mama explained. Just some bumpy air. It's like when we drive over a rough road. Sophie nodded, feeling brave. It's a sky road bump. She laughed, pretending to be a pilot in her seat. After what felt like a super fun sky adventure, the captain's voice came on again. We'll be landing soon, so please make sure your seat belts are fastened, he said. Sophie buckled up with a loud click and felt a mixture of excitement and curiosity. The plane began to tilt downward slowly. and Sophie noticed the ground getting closer and closer. "Here comes a landing," she announced. Suddenly, the engines got a bit louder. And whoosh, the plane dropped just a little. Sophie and Sam both squealed with delight, their hands waving in the air like they were on a mini roller coaster. Finally, with a tiny bump, the plane's wheels touched the ground, and it sped down the runway. "Hooray! We're back on Earth!" Sophie cheered as everyone clapped around them. They rode off the plane, and Sophie was given a special certificate for her first flight adventure. She proudly held it up as the family collected their luggage. Stepping out into the airport of the new city, Sophie felt like a true adventurer, ready to explore. "Can we fly again soon?" she asked as they walked towards the exit. "Of course," said Daddy, giving her a high five. "We have many more adventures to go on." As they left the airport, Sophie looked up at the sky and spotted another airplane taking off. It was then she knew flying was one of her favorite adventures ever, and she couldn't wait for the next family journey, high up in the sky. Thanks for watching our video and stay tuned for our next exciting story.